What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action. My God, I am in a strange place. My brain sometimes works. On occasion, it works. This might not be one of those occasions. Spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Zeus. His name is Kimo. His opponent today, the newly appointed expert over at RTS Sanctuary, your home for expert recorded games. His name is Moore, and it is currently spring for him, so he's got a spring name. That's how he works. Whereas it's autumn for me, it's spring for him. That's the hemispheres. You know, a little bit of geography. If you're in the southern hemisphere, the actual, you know, the weather, the seasons kind of flip. So if it's summer, it's winter. It's spring, it's autumn. You know, that's how it works. Thank you for the 100 bits, Terang. Appreciate you. All right. So we do have an Oranos versus Zeus on Anatolia. I'm excited. I like this matchup, especially with Moore playing, because Moore is one of those players who's actually actively thinks about how he needs to play on this map to win, whereas you get a lot of the other Oranos players who just chalk this up to a loss because it's a shit map for Oranos. That's not how it works. No, every single map can be won if you figure out a good way to play on it. Now, Moore, he's got his first dock down. He's getting his mana up. He goes straight onto 2 villagers on food. There's nothing too different here. Now, if I play this map with Oranos, what I prefer to do is to go for... forget you of a... Oh, no, he's fine. I prefer to go for a 4:30 advance time, utilize my Valor and my Promethean to attack the enemy's home base and get my 18 fishing ship out while I'm advancing. So I only need 1 villager on gold. The rest are on wood. I get all my fishing ships out by about 5:15 when my opponent would be getting to the classical age themselves with their own 18 fishing ship. And then we're simply just in a fairly equal position, except I've done a little bit of damage to my opponent's economy. And then I can hit a very nice heroic age timing with Hyperion, getting out the Nereid, getting out the Chaos, and winning one side of the water nice and easy, or putting tons of pressure onto the opponent on the land. Now, all of this being said, this does not mean that it necessarily is better than everyone else's strategy. It's just putting you on that same level. When it comes down to it, in Age of Mythology, the game is fairly balanced. If you expect to win just based off of your strategy, that's not really going to be enough. You still have to outplay your opponent because your opponent's got a strategy that they are trying to execute with as well. It's like that thing of if you've ever been like, oh man, I rushed my opponent and I couldn't win. Well, your opponent is trying to defend, and they've actually got an advantage on the defensive side of things if they just defend. So you can't just expect to fight and win. You have to hit timings where your opponent's not ready to fight. You have to hit... you have to take map control. You have to hit rage. You have to find yourself slight advantages, small advantages, and build upon them. So we'll see what Moore's going to do. Moore's going for a double dock in the archaic age here, which means that Moore is going for a 5:15 advance time, which there's nothing really wrong with the 5:15 advance time. I just feel like you lose out a little bit on that early pressure that makes Oranos, it is basically the advantage of Oranos. So we do see him getting himself a little bit of extra gold. He's going to have to throw down a house. He's going to have to throw down his temple. And in fact, it's seemingly looking like maybe this temple is going to be just that little bit delayed. As he's going to throw it up now, and he needs it up in 15 seconds, but there it is. One thing I probably would like is the temple a little bit further forward, but it's fine. He's going to chuck it up in his base. Villagers coming through. Temple is going to be late, so it will be a slightly delayed classical age here from Moore. There's not really... I mean, he's getting an extra village. No, he's not. There's not really a big problem with this, because a little bit delayed classical ages are kind of normal on Anatolia, but... we already see Kimo advancing. He's getting his second dock down over here. He's getting his docks up over here. He's still building those fishing ships. He's going to notice that there's no attack coming, going to continue his fishing ship production and see what he can do. He's already got his 9 fish up here, so that is very, very good. So More going through Prometheus, and we do have Athena for Kimo. And we have 6 villagers on gold. Villagers now getting up the wood over here. Wood getting income coming through on this bottom location. Fairly standard things here for Kimo. I would say that his fishing ships are a little bit late coming out on the top and not utilizing that extra dock here to get those extra fishing ships. A bit confusing. And that's all she wrote here in terms of my analysis. So all Moore can really afford with this is the 4 dock. So he can go double dock on one side, double dock on the other side, and he hasn't actually got that extra dock up on the top just yet. But he does have 1 dock here, so it's fine, and he might throw that next one down just a little bit later. We do have that Minotaur out, an immediate military academy coming down for Kimo here as well. There is a lot of possibilities here on Anatolia. It is a hybrid map, water land, so you can go for these kind of fight a little bit on water and a little bit on land strategies, which work very, very nicely. Oftentimes we don't see it all too much on Anatolia because the map's a little bit bigger than, say, Midgard. But it definitely can work here, especially if you want to put some pressure onto your opponent on the side. We do see the Oracles returning home as the Katoskopos spots the Hero Citizen here and the Jason Minotaur moving forward right now. Do we see any sort of Persin coming through? No, not just yet for Kimo, and he will be grabbing that one now, I assume. There he goes. A little bit delayed, but it's fine. More on the other hand, I assume he does not have it himself, which is a little bit of a confusing thing there as the Bareems are all out. He's got 7 Bareems, going to start putting some pressure onto his opponent as the units coming through. We do see the Katoskopos has been taken out, and the question here is, has Moore spotted this? Yes, he sees the stables, he sees the military academy. We see the military barracks coming down for Moore, and it's double military barracks. I like just simply going for the Murmillo here. No sense in going for anything really else as we see this Promethean just scouting around, seeing what it can do. And we're getting a very, very interesting Anatolia game for you guys here. No crazy fast teching. It's going to be a lot of fighting here in the classical age. And maybe Town Center's getting grabbed a little bit later as we see the Promethean getting dealt with. And Moore is still, he does not have his economic guild. So no economic guild. Bit of a confusing one there. He's getting another mana, so he needs to get that economic guild down as fast as possible. Now he's getting it in order to get himself the pickaxe such that he can mine that gold much quicker. As we see the Minotaur coming through over here as those hero oracles going to be able to deal with this Minotaur. We do have these Bareems that could come back and deal with this fairly easily. The Minotaur will not be living here as it's going to be getting retreated back. You can kind of speed walk this Minotaur just a little bit. It's 0.1 speed slower than the Jason, but if you just grab, say, these units here, you can grab these and then you can click both of them and attack and move over here, and then the units will run much quicker away from whatever they are moving away from. As we just see the hoplites moving in, the Minotaur does end up falling there. As we see one Murmillo getting dealt with over here. Nice micro there from Moore to retreat away. Good awareness. And Moore still trying to put pressure here onto Kimo's fishing ship shenanigans here. As we see the Trireme moving in onto this position as well. We've got one lone hoplite going after this dock here as the Bareem does end up getting dealt with. And over here on this position here, the Murmillo are all out. There are plenty of Murmillo here to finish off Kimo's hoplites. We see a Valor getting thrown down as well as the hoplites try and retreat back. And he does have enough units now to kind of continue the fight if he wants to, as he's also got the Odysseus wandering in onto this position here as the Oracles helping out in the back as well. Nice play here from Kimo. Both players still going to be very low on the food because they are spamming out everything, and they have lost out both onto their fishing economy just a little bit, but Moore's dealing with these Triremes nicely. Completely fine on the top side of the map. Kim is 85 population. Moore is 109 of 115 population. So very stock standard Oranos shenanigans, I would say. But Kimo is winning these fights on the land. So he needs to find a way to transition this advantage that he's got. Getting some pressure onto this gold mine would be good. Getting pressure onto this wood line would be good. But not happening just yet, as we're still seeing these Bareems just coming through, getting so much damage there onto Kimo's food economy. Kimo is now onto his goats over here. He's got himself a lot of those early game economic upgrades. We see the town center now coming down for more, but it has been spotted by a hoplite, by a Toxodi here. As we see even a Kyra Baluster here. We do have all of these shockwaves remaining, so you could shockwave these units into the town center, especially now now that the restoration gets thrown down. Big shockwave hits a lot of the units there as the army still continuing to fight. Kyribalis is going to be able to pick off one of these hoplites very quickly, but the Hippocon does come in and deals with that very nicely in of itself there. So we see the town center continuing to get built here. The villager coming in to help out as well. We see a bolt there onto the Kyribalisa to help Kimo's push very nicely. The villagers retreating back into the town center to get away from this one here. See the villagers getting taken down as it's looking like Kimo has a very big advantage here. However, we see the Bareems pushing forward, picking off fishing ships while this is all going on. So the economic damage is happening on both sides here as the Prometheans are falling, as there are very, very few units remaining here. What I'd love to see is a little bit of a retreat here from Kimo. The Odysseus comes in to tank the town center, and then we just click onto the town center and take it down. And we are actually seeing that's kind of what's happening, but the town center will be able to deal with these hoplites fairly quickly. The town center goes down very, very quickly here. The Atlantean town center is only 2100 HP, only does a little bit of damage as well, a little bit less damage, I should say, as well. And it is seemingly looking like Kimo is going to be able to take this town center down in commanding fashion. This town center being denied, Citizen has fallen here, and more looking as if he's not going to be able to hold on here in the land at all, as he's got not very many units remaining. 109 of 100 population, 109 of 100 population though, so he does have a lot of units, but a lot of it is still in Bareems, as Moore is trying to continue to kill the fishing economy of Kimo. The hoplites still pushing forward, taking down these units nicely. This gold mine here running out of gold, only 500 remaining, and the villagers all retreating back here. Town center still not even attempting to come up. It's a lot of resources remaining in said town center though, and it's looking as if I don't know exactly what Moore's plan is here to stay alive. He's still only got 2 military barracks. He's trying to get himself medium infantry. He's still getting out those Prometheans, but no favor remaining in the bank. As he's getting some Cairo Ballester out actually, though. Those are going to be key here to taking down all those hoplites. But as this is going on, I love this from Kimo. Kimo's noticing that no Terma are being built, so he's making Toxotes, which are actually a really, really good counter to the current army, which Moore is producing here. And there could even be an attempt here from Kimo to get out a Minotaur or two as this game continues. Obviously, too many villagers on gold here, but he's not exactly aware of that at this point, as he's just going full ham, full pressure, trying to take Moore out here. And these Toxotes retreating back as the Prometheans will be able to pick off that Hippocon, and Moore lives another day here. Lots of, wrong player, lots of wood in the bank for Moore, just trying to get himself that gold income. He does not, he could think about getting himself the shaft mine here. He still has a ton of food economy here, as we do see these hoplites and Hippocon going after the docks here, going to try and put an end to this fishing economy of Moore, or at least allow Kimo to get back onto the fish himself on this location here. He could rebuild those fishing ships if he wants. There are only 4 Bareem here, as we see the units retreating back, going to take down a manor as well. Lots of units are still in here, and we see 4 Citizen trying to get this town center back up as fast as possible. We see Moore chucking down his armory as well, as he's thinking about going to the heroic age even without a town center remaining. As Kimo coming back into this fight here, we see the counter barracks coming up. We've got the Odysseus coming through to take down the Promethean. This is going to be very, very important here to micro this, but he's not really micro there. No, bit of a misclick there onto the Kyribalis of this Promethean, getting a lot of damage done here, but all of those Kyribalis are seemingly getting dealt with fairly quickly. We do have the hero Terma here as well, coming through to try and take down those Toxotes, and seemingly Moore manages to destroy the entirety of Kimo's army here. Kimo is 2 town centers against the 1 town center of Moore, and Moore has managed to keep himself alive in this game, and he's getting very, very close to being able to click up to that heroic age, especially once this town center gets down. This gold mine expires, and then we're going to have Hyperion or Thea, both good choices here to make a very strong push onto a second gold mine, onto this town center, onto this gold mine here. Would be very, very good here. And we do see Hyperion as the god of choice, so no real surprises there. I don't think it would have been a bad idea to go Thea, but he doesn't do it. And we see up here Kimo pushing back these Bareems. I would like to see Kimo building some fishing ship, which he is doing. Getting those fishing ships back out is very smart. and he has gotten a couple back on the bottom as well. Just a little bit of extra economy that you're not going to get otherwise, so may as well continue to try to do that. We do see Kimo onto the berries as well. He does have some deer back in this bottom corner if he wants to grab those at any point. Much better than those berries, but obviously the berries are a ways away. But Moore is able to put a lot of pressure onto Kimo right now, as Kimo is seemingly struggling here to produce. He is trying to get stuff out everywhere. He's 115, 130 population. We see Moore making his way in here. The Terma in the back and the Murmillo in the front. It's a little bit scary. Decides to retreat back. And do we have units coming forward just yet for more? I would like to see a palace get thrown down first before this town center. Palace down here, we see the potential chaos to be cast. Decides against using that one immediately. And we do also get... Oh, it's on the top side of the map now because the dock was picked off. We do see the Narrate out. This Narrate is absolutely huge to help deal with these trireme. The chaos gets thrown down onto this position. And we do indeed see the town center being the first choice for more. I would like to see the palace, mind you, because he is going to be running out of gold here. See the villagers moving forward, and we do have the Hyperion Satyr to come through and deal with these Toxotes in the back with that special ability. They do a ton of damage. You think about the damage that a Manticore does, the Satyr does roughly the same, as these villagers do manage to get onto this gold mine as the game is continuing. And now, seemingly more has stabilized. We see the medium Murmillo turning into heavy Murmillo here as well. So Moore's economy is through the roof strong right now. And there is a big problem that might arise here for Kimo, because this is the gold mine he's got. It is safe by the town center, but he needs a wall up here. If Moore can get in here, he can put an end to the gold economy of Kimo very easily. As we see over here with the Citizen, Hero Citizen, 18 HP, and Kimo has to retreat. He still has no real good answer for the Satyr. Even in the Heroic Age, he has no good answer to the Satyr, but he is getting his heroes built. We do see a little bit of raids now coming in onto these villages over here. Heavy Murmillo, very tough to deal with. You can't just turn around and shank because you will lose a whole bunch more villages right now, but Kimo not paying attention to this raid as there's just a lot going on here. We do see the fishing ship starting again for Kimo to get back his economy that he's once lost. More, we see an armory coming up for Kimo as well as he's ready to start thinking about the next age. Still no Shaft Mine. Do we see Shaft Mine maybe coming through? Not just yet. It isn't that good of an upgrade, but given he's got a lot of food in the bank and a lot of gold, a lot of food, a lot of wood, and no gold, it's probably worth it to get it in that kind of position. So we see the Odysseus coming forward. Should be able to take down that Satyr very quickly, but it's seemingly not targeting that one down just yet. The Kyribalis is coming back in as well to help deal with those hoplites. The Terma in the back will be able to deal with those Toxotes very nicely, as we are seeing the units retreat away, and these hoplites still going to town on Kimo's villages here, as he's just not paying attention. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dead villagers there. So many, 6 dead, 7 dead villagers from these Murmillo raids. Beautiful play from Moore. Little bit too much distraction coming in, and Kimo not being able to react. And now Moore is pulling ahead in the score. 2 town centers here. Can think about getting his 3rd town center. His fishing ships kind of getting targeted down on both sides, it seems, but he doesn't really need it anymore. He can go into those farms if he so chooses. We see the Satyr raid coming in, going to try and take down a couple of these villages. The Satyr raids are actually kind of low-key disgusting, because, I mean, the villagers don't do much damage to them, and he can easily retreat away, and the special ability will come through and get a whole bunch of damage. And look at those villagers just getting absolutely massacred here, as Kimo is just losing economy left, right, and center. His army coming in here. Huge shockwave there from Moore, picking off so many of those units, or hitting so many of those units, I should say, as many of them falling. The Contarius coming in, the Toma in the back doing big damage. And we'll see where this game is going to go to from now, as Kimo is still trying to pump villages. He does have his own 2 town centers. Over here, we do see one Toxote coming through to try and deal with this heavy Murmillo, who's still on the wood economy of Kimo. It's going to be so annoying to realize that that's going on and not do anything about it. As we see the more units retreating away over here. They have spotted this gold mine, but there's too much here. And Kimo lives another day. Do we see more going up for this third town center? Yes, we do. Getting that one nicely and timely here. The doc's even back up for more. Does he have himself Salt Amphora? He does not have Salt Amphora. That technology is one of the best technologies in the game. Probably the best economic technology in the game, actually, because it's plus 30% from plus 40%, excuse me. So it is 100% the best economic technology you can get in the game. It just so happens that you can only really get it for like 18 economic units or so, maybe more if you have a few more, but it's still very, very good nonetheless. So Kimo coming over here, going to try and take down the Terma, but deciding to retreat away from that one instead. You see the walls getting dealt with over here as the villagers retreating away from that gold mine. Villagers will be ending up losing their lives nonetheless as they retreat into the town center to safety, as the Contarius are here. I'm a bit confused as to why we're seeing Contarius being built from more. He's maybe been playing a little bit too much Norse, thinking like, got to get those raiding cavalry out. But right now you're playing against Hoplite Toxotes. Should be going Destroyer Arcus most of the time against this unit composition for easy damage. But Kimo now going through Apollo. More on the other hand, going through Hecate. So you do see this town center is attempting to come up. The Contarius speed actually coming in clutch here just a little bit. Going to be able to pick off these villagers here as they come in, getting a lot of damage done onto those. And we do see up on this position here, the Terma going through, going to try and pick off some more villagers. They can find their way over onto this large gold mine. We see the Hoplites coming forward to try and deal with these Contarius. As the game continues, we've even got a Siege Barim coming in, going to try and take down the docks of Kimo as he tries to continue the distraction action in this game. The trireme moving forward onto this fishing ship over here. We see the Terma, the Satyr coming in, going to get a whole bunch of damage done. The villagers pulling back. The Hoplite here, the Toxote here to try and defend back on this position. And while this is going on, we see the Ballaster coming in to try and take down this wooden wall. The villagers walking forward onto this gold mine, getting greeted by heavy Contarius and the Terma. Apollo does pop now for Kimo, but I'm not sure exactly what his plan is with his underworld. Town center is now up, and you can just save it for the most rainiest of days as he tries to get his army into a position that he can really do some damage. But these Contarius are causing a lot of distractions here. Now, Moore needs to find a place to put this Tartarian Gate where these units are not. So he's over here with these Contarius distracting, and then he should be casting his Tartarian Gate on this front, I would suggest. Because anywhere close to these units would be a big, big mistake, because we do see the Terma are wandering in here. And I assume that is because he wants to chuck his Tartarian Gate down here. No, not just yet. The Terma do end up falling here. The Hoplites, the Toxotes sitting at home waiting. Obviously, more Kimo knows the Tartarian Gate is coming somewhere, but not being clicked just yet. And the villagers getting attacked off of this gold mine. So much damage onto Kimo's economy here. As you see the Lampade coming in. The Pentaconta sitting in the back. Going to be hammering away at the Siege Barim here. As these villagers all falling. And Kimo's economy is an absolute ruin here. It would seem maybe there's a try at starting a big trade route here for Kimo, as he's probably not going to hold this gold mine for much longer. He does have all of his units now coming up here. So now you can think about the Tartarian Gate over here onto this temple or something like that, considering all the units are up here. And are we seeing that? Yes, we are. We see the Murmillo from Moore waltzing in. Yes, he is indeed waltzing into Moore's base, or into Kimo's base, I should say. And the Tartarian Gate will get thrown down immediately here. And this is going to be really, really tough for Kimo to hold. He's trying to hold back over here. The Satyr doing tons of damage. Odysseus in the back needs to be attacking here. Myth units here. He finally picks off the Lampede before maybe going after those Satyr in the back. We could see Heracles getting built over here. Chaos getting thrown down on this position as well as the villagers getting pulled off. There's going to be so many dead villagers. There is Masons in for more as well. So this is not going to be enough villagers at all to take down the Tartarian Gate. And then the Tartarian Gate units will start going after this town center. Though we do see the Heracles out. Heracles is a different story. You can do a lot of damage onto the Tartarian gate, but generally speaking, you want to send the hero in first, such that those Tartarian spawns will not target down the villagers. But Kimo doesn't do that. Kimo's population has dropped down to 95, whereas Moore is at 130 here as he is continuing the pressure. We see a forward palace thrown down as the Fire Siphon are coming in, and in that moment, Kimo does decide to tap out. GG, well played by Moore, managing to defend after dropping down to 0 town centers in this game. Kimo not able to transition away from that. Moore putting on a lot of pressure on the water while it was all going on. So even though it seemed like Moore's economy was getting dealt tons of damage, Kimo's economy was also being dealt tons of damage, so the game is still very, very close. And then Moore opting to get to that heroic age first, helping him out an absolute ton compared to Kimo's second town center, which slowed him down a lot. And then obviously in the end, the Tartarian gate comes in, the villagers all get picked off, the gold starve has been successful, and Kimo is forced out of this game. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. And I will see you guys in the next game.